Hey everyone, Green Orb here. I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to pick up on the golf series and move into discussing scoring and handicaps in golf. In the past two videos, I've looked at the environment that we play golf in, as well as the equipment and the kind of shots we'll seek to hit in golf. But I have left one of the more complicated topics for last. Let's start with scoring. Now, scoring in golf is all centered around the concept of par. Par is basically the expected number of shots it takes you to get the ball from the tee into the cup. On a golf course, you'll be expected to find par 3s, par 4s and par 5s, where you'll be expected to get the ball into the cup in 3, 4 and 5 shots respectively. Par is an important concept because we discuss the scores in golf all relative to par. You'll see on the screen here that we have scores which are over par and scores which are under par. Let's just quickly talk through the scores under par. If you hit, let's say, 4 shots on a par 5, you would score what's called a birdie, or 1 under par. If you hit 3 shots on a par 5, you would score 2 under par, or an eagle. And if you are fortunate enough to only hit 2 shots on a par 5, you would score 3 under par, or what is known as an albatross or double eagle. Now, if you are going to score over par, if you hit, let's say, 6 shots on a par 5, you would score a bogey. If you hit 7, it would be a double bogey. And if you hit 3 or more, we would literally only refer to it relative to par. So 3 over par, 4 over par, 5 over par. Whilst I'm on the topic of strokes over par, it's also worth mentioning the concept of penalty strokes. Now, a penalty stroke is basically where you play your ball into some kind of hazard, be it water, be it out of bounds on the golf course, be it into thick brush where you can no longer find it. It could even be in a place where you can find the ball, but you can't play it. Now, what happens in a situation like that where you lose the ball or you can't play it is you're forced to take what's called a drop. Now, when you take a drop, you incur 1 or more penalty strokes, depending on the type of drop taken, not really relevant for this video series. What is relevant is that taking a penalty stroke will often see you playing that particular hole in a score over par, be it bogey, double bogey, 3 over or more. One thing I haven't mentioned is how par is determined on a particular hole. Now, generally speaking, par is a measure of the length of the hole. The shorter holes, or the shortest holes, will be a par 3, the mid-length holes a par 4, and the longest holes on the golf course par 5s. Generally speaking, there will be 4 par 5s, 4 par 3s, and 10 par 4s on a standard golf course. You'll be hearing me say the word generally quite a lot in this video, and that's because in this series we're not intended to get into the minutiae of golf. But for example, when I say generally on a golf course there are a certain number of par 3s, 4s and 5s, in some cases there may be one more par 5 on the course, so instead of a par 72 course we have a par 73 course. This is more the exception than the rule, and so in this series I'm more going to refer to the general rule and the general situation. Moving on from scoring, we come to handicaps. Handicaps are integral to the scoring of competitions in amateur golf, and are basically intended to allow players of different skill levels to compete realistically against each other. The R&A and the USGA, who I mentioned in video 1, recently implemented something called the World Handicap System, which replaces the 6 separate systems that were in use around the world. The World Handicap System is basically a method of measuring the relative skill level of each golfer, called the Handicap Index. The Handicap Index starts at 0 for the most skilled golfer, this is also known as scratch, and goes to a maximum of 54. This handicap index is then combined with the relative difficulty of the course the golfer is playing on the day, which is called the slope rating of the course, and this combination then results in a course handicap for the golfer. Very complicated, but it does work together in a logical way. This system has obviously required each golf course around the world to be rated in a standard way, which is part of the process of adopting the World Handicap System. Handicaps work in practice by mathematically adjusting the scores of players on each hole played. Golfers will start with the actual number of shots they played on each hole, called the gross score, and adjust that based on their handicap to get a net score for each hole. The net score on each hole will also take into account the relative difficulty of each hole, which is called the stroke index. It's not really necessary to know how the stroke index is calculated, only that it runs from 1, which is the most difficult hole on the golf course, to 18, which is the easiest hole on the golf course. Obviously, a 9-hole golf course will only run from 1 through 9. Now, it's pretty hard to understand this system in the abstract, so let's look at a few practical examples of how this works. Let's start with a par 4 stroke 1 hole. So this is a hole that should ideally be completed within 4 shots, and it is the most difficult hole on the golf course. Our imaginary 0 handicap or scratch golfer needs 4 shots or 4 gross shots to get their ball from the tee to the cup. Our 24 handicap player or a bogey golfer needs 6 shots in total to get the ball from the tee into the cup. Now, when you apply the handicap system, the 0 handicap or scratch golfer will get 0 benefit. His net shot count will still be 4. The 24 handicap golfer, on the other hand, because they are playing the most difficult hole on the golf course, will get 2 shots. So, although their gross shot count was 6, their net shots at the end of the round will be 4. Let's look at another example, this time a par 4 stroke 18 hole, so this is the easiest hole on the golf course. Again, our scratch golfer hits 4 shots and completes the hole, giving them a net shot count of 4, whilst our 24 handicap or bogey golfer needs again 6 shots to complete the hole. This time, however, their net shot count is only 5. You might be wondering why that is, so let's take a look at this image on screen. Now, I've changed things up slightly. Here I'm comparing an 18 handicap golfer with a 24 handicap golfer, just to make it clear where the differences lie. Basically, the 18 handicap golfer will get 1 free shot per hole. So, on every single hole, their gross shot count will reduce by 1. A 24 handicap, on the other hand, will get 1 free shot per hole for holes where the stroke index is 7 through 18. And will get 2 shots per hole for those holes where the stroke index is 1 through 6. Obviously, it's possible to get much further into how handicaps and stroke indexes of courses are calculated, and I'll leave some links in the video description to the World Handicap System and their FAQs, which explain these calculations in detail. Right, so hopefully this video has clarified and not confused how scoring in golf works, and how the handicap system ties into this scoring. So this is where I'm going to leave this video. In the next video, I'll be touching on the basics of course etiquette for players and visitors, as well as touching on some of the key rules in golf. For now, thank you for watching.